In this video, I'm taking a risk. I'm switching my focal length from the nifty 50 to a 28mm. Now, for how long, that part is pretty undetermined. I've been using my D700 and 50mm for quite some time now, coming up on about a year. It's a beautiful look that's treated me very, very well. But over time, it's become a bit of a bore. So I decided to throw that 28mm back into the mix. But little did I know, this was going to take my shooting sessions from easy to advanced. Even with this change, I found a few photos that I ended up loving. And I might even have a technique that could help you with the big change between the lenses, but we'll get to that later. So my 28mm of choice is the Nikon 28 2.8D. I paid around $130, and this is about the same that you would pay today. But if that price tag didn't push you away, let's get into my photos from the Botanical Garden. Another photo with the tulips. I was crouched very, very close and extra low down to get the photo that I wanted here. And I knew immediately that this was going to be a different experience. I tried many different photos when it came to a structure that was in the Botanical Gardens. And I had a lot of difficulty framing, getting a level that I wanted, using the window as a frame. Over and over again, I tried, but it just was not working out. And I don't feel that it would have been perfect with a 50mm, but I do feel as though the depth perception would have made it far more interesting if I was using that. And then I continued to walk around and try to figure out what could best suit this camera. I felt as though I came across my most success when the item that I was shooting was much bigger than me, because it could still fill the frame and I didn't have to think so much about layering in a strong composition versus contrast in breaking down my window. So of course I used this greenhouse because, once again, love windows, the fog that it creates, invisibility, because it has this dirt, soot, or whatever it might be. So the window panes act as some form of detail or texture to a very, very simplistic picture. And as I continued to walk, I realized that a lot of the landscape, yes, it is a garden, was green. There wasn't much color in comparison to Longwood Gardens that had a lot of color pop against their green. So I found a lot of difficulty there with it not raining or anything to make the green so much stronger. So I kept walking. So where I finally came across this red tree, or at least the leaves were red. And I took a few photos that were more eye level that weren't very interesting to me. They didn't come out very strong. And then I picked my head up. Luckily for me, I think that this is my favorite shot from the photos that I'm showing you. Plane came into the frame while also having the red and the green overlaying each other with the beautiful, almost cloudless sky in the background. This is where I started to find some confidence in the lens and how I needed to shoot with this camera. Going back to, of course, the glass in the greenhouse, it's more about breaking up your image window instead of looking for an exact thing like I do with the 50mm. But I still couldn't quite find anything that was overly interesting to me in the Botanical Gardens. So I think a piece of it was the garden, not necessarily the 28mm. And my final shot of the day was in Brooklyn, but it was on the streets. Being tighter, more confined, and narrow, I feel as though the 28mm helped me a lot more, and I think that this was a big part of what made me feel comfortable with the camera. I realized I needed to be in the city. So for my second shoot, I decided to stay in Jersey but go into the city. Though a very unbelievably simplistic photo, I love this parking sign picture. Anytime I can get an item and idolize it and add small things or textures around it that can make it stronger, whether it's a sign or a person or any type of landscape, that's what truly interests me. And I think that that's why this particular photo is also so intriguing, because we have the overlapping of the chains. We have the 909 under it. There's two green pillars, quote unquote, to the side that are really just garages. That red sticker, the yellow under it, I think that it's unbelievably simplistic, but due to the color choices that the city just happened to put into order here, it makes it far more interesting to me. Even the P being crossed out by a gray line instead of red like we typically see. is cool to me. As I continued my walk in the morning, I of course got a more classic Jalen picture with very simple structures and a more flat sky, because it just shows and allows the color of the actual city, the color of the bricks or the color of the wood panels to shine through. And the way my city is made out, it's very blocky in that way, with a little red here, a little green here, this being made out of brick, but then the top part is made out of panel. It's very color blocky. Continuing on my way, I found some strange metal art that's just on a wooden fence and so textured. So that brought me basically from across the street. I took a picture of that, super plain. But then I picked my head up and I saw how the trees were being exposed by how they were backlit. And the greens and the oranges shining through. Once again, that flat blue in the background. All made a very interesting photo with some texture that's open enough that you can see the sky in the background without it being too muddy. And lastly, anytime I see red, I have the urge to shoot it. And I think that that's a challenge that I may need to pick up in the future, honestly. So let's talk about the quality of the lens. When it comes to the images, there's no question here. It's still beautiful, it's still amazing. This lens originally being released in 94. Yes, 1994. It has some very old or handsome designs to it. For instance, I absolutely love the window for the distance indicator. It's beautiful seeing technology at work. Even with its old age, I have no problem with its autofocus, and it's really great because it's light but yet sturdy. The highs to this lens is the change for me, the extra space. It's quite simple. It really challenges you to think differently when it comes to your composition. And once I thought about the entire shooting experience differently, moving off of isolation and more to contrast, it started to be a much more joyful experience. And I think that the challenge is definitely well welcomed if you haven't shot with this before. And lows for this lens, didn't I say it gives you more space? Don't worry guys, I don't think that my 50mm is going to have to worry about being replaced at all. But this 28 definitely still makes me interested about the 35 and the 40.